All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and today we're tackling something pretty interesting. Um, Dreams.
Dreams.
Yeah, but not like the ones you have when you're sleeping.
Right.
We're talking about those aspirations, those big desires that kind of shape our lives. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And the source material we're looking at today, it really dives deep into how those dreams, those aspirations connect to all the challenges and the wins we face just navigating life.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
it's pretty thought-provoking stuff. I think you might be surprised by some of the connections this source makes between our dreams and those
yeah.
everyday struggles and successes that we all go through.
Yeah, well, one thing that jumps out right away is how this source it doesn't sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
Life's tough and it says that straight up. It even says the situation is never favorable.
Whoa, that's pretty bold, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely setting the stage for a real conversation. And then it gets even more interesting when it talks about dreams actually teaching people to live.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, it's a fascinating concept, right? Those deep down desires we all have, they could be like a driving force pushing us to learn and grow. They give us direction, fuel our motivation, maybe even give us a sense of purpose.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Everyone listening has probably spent some time thinking about their dreams, what they mean.
Of
The
course.
source is suggesting they could be more than just random thoughts and images, maybe even offering us some kind of guidance.
Right.
Like, think about those recurring themes that pop up in your life.
Yeah.
Are you always striving for something, or maybe facing the same fear over and over again?
Hmm.
Maybe those dreams are showing us what really motivates us, or even what we might be trying to avoid when we're awake.
Absolutely. And, maybe our dreams are like metaphorical representations of life lessons. They give us those aha moments when we look back on things.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this source also uses a really powerful image. It describes the world as a testing ground.
A testing ground.
What do you make of that?
Well, it's like life is designed to challenge us, right? To push us to our limits.
Yeah.
Every decision, every obstacle, it becomes a chance to grow and learn. So I'm curious, how do you see this idea of a testing ground applying to your own life?
Wow, that's a big question. It makes me think about another point from the source that really hits home for me. It says it's not easy and acceptable to grow up in a society-centered, family-centered environment and go beyond this boundary and do something by prioritizing one's desires.
Right.
Like that whole idea of balancing your personal ambitions with what society expects of you.
Yeah.
I think so many people can relate to that.
Totally. We're all shaped by our families, our cultures, our communities, and they often have pretty strong opinions about what a successful life looks like.
Oh, yeah?
But what happens when those expectations clash with our own dreams?
Right.
How do we handle those conflicting forces? It's tough.
And the source really gets into the potential consequences of that struggle. It says one's desires may be crushed, or relationships may be ruined, or one may have to lose one's life without the prayers of many elders.
Wow.
Those are some serious stakes.
No kidding. It really highlights the weight of those choices we're talking about, right? Do we conform to what society says, even if it means giving up on our dreams? Or do we take the risk of being alienated, maybe facing hardship to go after what truly matters to us? There's no easy answer. And the source really emphasizes how difficult these decisions are.
Yeah, and to really show us the challenges we face, the source uses this striking metaphor, the boat of life.
The zone of life.
It's a pretty powerful way to visualize all those burdens we carry, don't you think?
It is. It's beautiful, actually. That boat metaphor, it captures the weight of our individual journeys perfectly. Imagine navigating this vast ocean facing unpredictable storms, turbulent waters.
Mm-hmm.
Some people sail through with resilience. They reach that distant shore. Maybe that represents fulfillment, achieving their goals. But others, they struggle their boats almost capsizing under the weight of it all. And some, they give up, unable to bear the burden any longer.
Powerful image. Where do you feel like you are on your own journey? What burdens are you carrying? And what does reaching that shore mean for you?
What's interesting is the source doesn't point fingers or place blame.
Hey.
It acknowledges that everyone has a unique story filled with its own hardships and triumphs, and that reminds us to approach life with empathy, understanding that everyone's path is shaped by their experiences and the choices they make.
That brings us back to those best novels we all have inside us. Like the source says, if our dreams are the compass, how do our unique stories guide us through this testing ground of life?
That's the question, isn't it? Maybe by understanding our own narratives, recognizing the challenges we've overcome and those aspirations that drive us, we can find meaning in our own individual journeys. This source really gives us a lot to think about.
It does. From viewing life as a series of tests to understanding that tension between what society expects and what we personally desire, this deep dive has given us a lot to ponder. Ultimately, it seems like the journey is ours to make.
It is.
So what does your own story tell you about navigating this testing ground and pursuing your dreams?
That's something for everyone to consider.
It is. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.